This segment of DelmarvaLife is sponsored by Landmark Insurance and Financial Group.
You know, one thing that we have noticed here on Delmarva Life is how naturally talented a lot of people are without lessons, without training. Folks can sing, they can paint, they can write, and so much more just from being blessed with remarkable abilities.
Now, for a lot of us, we need to be taught certain things, and there's no way to properly put value on education. And there's one aspect of our day-to-day lives that you just can't try your own hand at alone and expect to be good at it, and that is insurance. So we're joined by Ryan McClanahan. He is the Vice President of Landmark Insurance and Financial Group. He's here with Doug Perry, a life and health agent. Gentlemen, thank you for being here this afternoon.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
All right, Doug, I'm going to start with you and tell me, what does a life and health agent do?
So I help out with anything from the under 65 crowd with their health insurance needs, and help them navigate that if they have a special enrollment period or during open enrollment, navigating those often tricky waters there with it, and any individuals advancing towards Medicare age, because as I usually like to call it, the alphabet soup. There's so many letters and everything they throw out. It makes it a lot easier to understand having somebody that can educate on it. And we're not pushy. We just would like to help people understand their options, what they have going through, so those are the main focal points. But obviously the life side, we have a lot of different products to help people. Obviously, if they lose a loved one, it's one of the biggest things with it. We used to always say there with it, life insurance is a lot like skydiving without a parachute. If you don't have it, you're not going to need it again here with it. It's a problem that you can't go back and fix. So, it's a little bit morbidity to it, but the understanding with it is taking care of loved ones, not only for their loss, but, paying it forward, giving them time to grieve sometimes we don't think about. So we have a lot of little other products we talk about, but that's the main stitch.
So Ryan, listening to Doug, he makes it sound like it's a good idea when you're talking insurance to talk to a professional.
Yeah, there's a lot of areas of insurance that kind of falls into. Everybody wants a one-size-fits-all policy.
Right.
And the reality is there's no such thing.
Okay.
And one of the slogans I have, and summer's upon us, boat insurance season's here. Well, actually recreational vehicle season's here. Boat insurance is always a really interesting topic, comes up this time of year, because like a lot of products, like auto, you have to have insurance by law.
Right.
Boat insurance is one of those interesting things you don't have to have when you go to register a boat. Now, if you get a loan, you have to have insurance.
Right.
If you're going to keep it in a marina, you have to have proof of insurance, and that's for bodily injury, property damage of others. And that's an important piece, actually, of the insurance policies. There is the liability. And it always gets overlooked because, we have a lot of cute gimmicks out there. There's a lot of areas that are being sold to you for kind of just like a look at me, here I am campaign.
Right.
And we actually represent a lot of those type of carriers too. I mean, there's nothing wrong with them, but sometimes this carrier does a better job with this product and this carrier does a better job with that product. And we kind of are there to kind of act more like an insurance coordinator.
Gotcha.
And, Doug and I have always tried to talk about the areas where his life and health specialty kind of matches up with more of our property and casualty side.
Right.
And it kind of falls in the area with boat insurance. Back to that, just again, keeping with the season right here. Yeah. It's a scenario if something were to happen out there on the water.
And I understand you actually have a summer scenario that you can kind of drive home the point with.
Yeah. I mean, think about this. If you've got probably boats out there that don't have insurance, and something happens,
it was kind of something that we had talked about before. He came up with this great idea. It was called the Slow Wake Showdown. It was an understanding of these two captains, a little story beside one Captain Bob on a 19-foot pleasure craft, nothing to lose but a good time. Captain Bob bobbing out there on the water.
Right.
And then you got Captain Tom, or as I say, Captain Tom Fool, we were talking about here with it. He's driving a derelict, kind of dent, rusted, beat up, passenger vessel pontoon. And, he's telling them boat insurance is a scam for land people here with it. You don't need it. You can just go out on the water and run with it. So the unfortunate nature it comes down to, the long story short, is these guys don't pay attention to the slow wake sign, and they both collide into it, and by extension themselves, and create a mess of things out there on the water. And the irony of it is that sign, the slow wake sign there, is a lot like insurance. Easy to ignore, but when you're responsible for what comes after,
It's
you know,
important.
and that was his big point that he had with it. I think really drove home, because it's not just the boat insurance, which
Right.
covers a lot. It extends into our side: life, disability, health. What are the ramifications afterwards?
Yeah.
Because
So-
yeah, and because the scenario is right there, you got two boats that are not insured. That doesn't come into play, but there are other policies that are going to come into play that other people are going to have, and that's kind of important to know and understand, because again, there's not a one-size-fits-all policy out there. There are different pieces to different puzzles, and everybody says insurance is a puzzle. Yes, it is, but you have to kind of put all the pieces together to make up what fits for you.
And that's what you do best.
And
It's
if you'd
about-
like to get a hold of Ryan or Doug or anybody at Landmark Insurance, we have a link on our website, DelmarvaLife.com. You guys will help people put that puzzle together.
Yes.
There we go.
Absolutely.
Gentlemen,
Thank you
thank
so
you.
much.
Thank you.
Wonderful talking to you.